Future gods and goddesses, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking all about body language. Okay, we haven't talked about this topic for a while, so I thought I'd give you guys some new insights that have come through for me. Of course, we all know about power posing and like using up more space and all that kind of stuff, but that's not what I want to cover today. I want to cover the idea that mind affects body and body affects mind. So if you have a specific visualization that's very, very aligned towards your character, I want you to go into that, okay? So let's say that you're inspired by like Godzilla, for instance. Godzilla's body language, right, would be more like you would walk as if you had a tail behind you. Think about that and how that would change the way that you would move, okay? You would actually have to be conscious of who's behind you so you don't end up knocking them over with your tail, right? And think about how much of an impact that imaginative principle has in your waking life, okay? Because this is what I'm constantly doing. I'm constantly using my visualization and merging it with my waking life and my reality. So if I want to make a specific impact and I've got to change my posture, what if I just gave myself giant angel wings, right? And then suddenly it's just an autocorrect of my posture. What if I imagine I had spikes on my hand, okay? I would actually walk a little bit more like this because I don't want the spikes to spike underneath me and poke me, right? So I would actually hold my arms out a little bit like this, just automatically because I have spikes. So I want you to think like this when it comes down to body language. Don't go for the generic like hands in the pockets. Okay, that stuff is fine. In the day, in royal times, they even used to show a little bit of the calf muscle, right? To show that, oh yeah, that's my erogenous zone, right? You want to have a combination of both body languages. And it's also different if you're a guy and a girl, I understand that. However, you want to find the right balance where wherever you're moving, it feels natural to you. It feels natural to what? Your character. And understand the activities that I do enhances my movement. Why am I interested in having a flowing life? So I believe in flow state and living in a flow state lifestyle. So if you are in a flow state lifestyle, that's gotta mean that you do flow state activities, things to tap you in. I noticed this a while back, but when I was going to the gym, I would simply go to the gym without doing much flexibility training, resistance training, or any kind of training which brings more blood flow to the fascia and muscles and tendons and, working on my kundalini and energy work at the same time as doing my gym training. I was making progress, but I wasn't making progress, right? But then I introduced these flexibility movements and these, back bend exercises and all the kind of MMA rolling, and then it started to give itself a life of its own because I am now combining two forms of exercise, right? One is grappling or perhaps kickboxing, and one is a lifting motion, okay? And so I've started to understand that changes your mindset. If you're going to the gym all the time, your mindset is going to be very, very sharp, rigid, cutthroat, disciplined, okay? If you want a mindset like that, go to the gym. However, if you're a Kundalini king, you need to do this differently. What if you were doing hanging and then working on your spine? As weird as that looks, you doing this in the gym as a guy, of like undulating your spine, understand that those motions helps the chi or the prana activate and secrete that Christ oil. So what about body language and spirituality? How do we link them together? Where's the mind, body, muscle, movement connection? So pick the visualization right for you. If you want to walk slower, you imagine you're walking underwater because the water's resistance will make you move that much slower, okay? Just by holding an image in your mind, you're changing the way that you adapt with your senses. So I want you to think almost like this is augmented reality. That's why I'm wearing these, to remind you guys that if you have a different frame, a different pair of eyes with which you see your body, and you could, like, let's say I could give my hands like gloves right now. These gloves could shoot arrows out of them or whatever. So now that I'm sitting down and I'm going like this, I understand I have such a power that just by going like that, I can attack somebody. So with great power comes great responsibility, which creates an inner poise, which allows me to know that I'm protected. Imagine walking with a weapon. This is really, really powerful for a man to do, especially. All the Hindu gods that you see, they all carry weapons. So they feel really, really protected. They feel that there is something else happening here. So imagine you are carrying a giant sword on your back. That would autocorrect your posture, wouldn't it? Or let's say that you have some kind of a laser gun, okay? How did cowboys used to walk back in the day? Always used to go like this, right? Their fingers and their gun on the holster, right? Like they could go like this at any time. But also, if you're part of a mystical path working, you understand this, what you can do is you can charge different objects with energy. So working with those energies, you can call out their names and you can help them charge this medallion or object using all of their powers together. All of the elementals together will create the most charged object. And now when you walk with it, wow, your body language is going to change. Absolutely, it's going to change. Because you now have all of the elements working with this particular material that's embodied. You see, so that's a different relationship when it comes down to spiritual, high-tech, metaphysical body language, okay? Metaphysical body language. This is what we're discussing. Oh, actually, let me take these off. I have very pretty eyes, so I'm not gonna, deny you guys that. Okay. Man, what a charmer, huh? You ever people watch, man? It's like you go up and you look at strangers in the mall or something, and then you observe something about them, about their body language, how they're holding their posture, how they're sitting, how they're talking to another person. Maybe you hear it in their voice, their vocal tonality, and so forth. So the body has different blocks that show up. Sometimes there's a facial block. Okay? The person has a resting bitch face or like a poker face or whatever. That's a facial block. Someone might have an abdominal or chest block. They're constantly, going like this. Someone might have a hand block. They're hiding their hands, which is untrustworthy. Be blocking their leg with their other leg. The thing about it is the person has more consciousness on their block. So if they're a very heady person, they might have a bit of a facial block. Maybe they're not making good eye contact, or they're kind of getting, they're not emoting or showing any emotion in their face. That's when a compliment can actually relax them and make them feel like this sense of non-judgment, which causes a lack of restriction, causes an openness or an expansion. So if someone has a leg block, you can always compliment their footwear. If someone has their hands like this, you're like, hey, give me your hands. If someone has clothes like this, you'll notice that as you start talking to them more and more, maybe you compliment their watch or whatever they have, like their little necklace for the chest block, or, you say, give me your hands, and you swing them around, or you do some compliance testing. This is how you work with it and weave with it. Obviously, this is very surface level stuff that I'm telling you. If you want more of the dynamic approach towards this, you would join the Adepts program. Congratulations to Ace, who joined for this month. And so we're still looking for more members if you are interested, but we have our number, so we're fully satisfied. But if you are still interested in the mystery school, definitely reach out. Posture. Best posture is a posture that's changing, that's not stagnant and stiff. A good posture is a moving posture. Think about that, okay? It's erect, but it's flexible. It's not stiff, slouching, drooping shoulders, saggy, kind of body language. And I understand if you're depressed, if you're lacking energy, if you have chronic fatigue or whatever, I get it, right? You have that lack of energy in the physical body, but that's why you need to work on yourself. You need to work on energy maintenance. You need to work on, building that energy up through Kundalini yoga or other means. You need to find the strategies that are out there. Head motion, a really important one, I think, because a lot of people are just like, okay, that's not going to be sustainable. Imagine doing this for 2 hours in a social scenario. Okay, you become the approval-seeking person, and that is actually very disgusting if you think about it. Because really, in this generation, people are looking more towards being approved and accepted by others rather than being respected by others. But I think once you change and you become someone worthy of respect rather than being accepted or approved by society or the standards that other people have, first of all, if you do that in a relationship, your girlfriend or partner or whatever is going to get turned off. If you're looking for approval like, oh, I need my wife to accept of me, okay? No, you need to earn her respect. You need to have her admire you. She wants to be you. That's the code. She wants to be you. So if you yourself aren't respecting you, how is she going to be respecting you? But in oral communication, the movement of the head is really important, actually. Okay? Whether it's like this on one side, whether it's like this. Okay, the head motion. Nodding appropriately, not too much. Okay, nodding appropriately. Sometimes you do need to acknowledge somebody like that, right? Facial expressions are important because a lot of people say something, but it gets contradicted by their facial expressions. So you gotta have that congruence with how you're speaking. If you're thinking something and you're saying something else, that's a disgenuine communication line. Eye contact. Sometimes in other cultures, like eye contact can be a very interesting one because too much eye contact is not actually respected in a lot of cultures. So you almost have to be culturally sensitive, right? You have to understand that other people have different upbringings in terms of body language and what they experience. And knowing that will give you the freedom to do what you want and move through the world with a lot more ease and not just rely on different social scenarios that you might have gone through. Then we also have paralanguage, right? Chuckling, little sounds that we make. Shh, ah, woo. Okay? These little things that we do, little guttural sounds. Sometimes you might use ghost words, like in Bengali we use ghost words. Being a good listener is very important to this. And you know how I've understood this differently? And we're speaking about the metaphysics of body language, okay? Imagine all of your skin receptors had hearing receptors, right? Like the fuzzy little hairs on your cochlea or your inner ear are all over your body. So you're all ears. There's a full body listening taking place. It's almost like your entire body is full of these sensors for hearing and picking up different frequencies, sounds, information that you can't see. When someone walks past you, I know when I walk past someone if they're how deep in the rabbit hole of their spirituality they are. It's very obvious, okay? There's a different kind of presence in the eyes. Some people, you'll see them talking about it like fantastically, and you won't really get that they're fully committed, right? To be on this process, you have to be 100% committed, not 99%. Imagine flying a plane and you 99% knew that it followed the laws of physics and matched with it, right? There's still that fear of that 1%, okay? Or let's say if you were to get married, there's a 90% chance that she won't cheat on you, okay? But what about that 10% or whatever, right? Like, so you'd be like a little bit hesitant towards everything in that process. But what if you committed 100%? That'll actually make the process of you transforming a lot easier, right? Like if you're trying to give something up right now, for December, I'm doing SR again, okay? Like, watch out. Uh-oh. Going priest beast mode. You already know what it is, okay? Obviously, how much milk that you have, okay, determines your body language. It determines how masculine you move and how you are. If you're jerking off every single day, you're gonna feel like a diluted, muted reflection of a human being just surviving and getting by. That's what it's gonna feel like. I'm telling you from personal experience, this is what it's like. If you can maintain your energy levels, if you can be productive, if you can have a high level of self-control, you'll notice how that affects your body language. It's incredible. It's incredible. The shift is absolutely tremendous. And the real ones know these things, okay? Now, what about a woman? You see a woman walking and they really accentuate their hips and so forth. That's really, really attractive. And I think that, let me just say that there's nothing sexier than a woman that knows her own body, that knows how to be deeply embodied and feel pleasure within her own body. Notice that your eyes are automatically drawn to when a woman flips her hair, right? It's an unconscious, like, flirtatious cue because it's a health indicator. Hair is healthy. Women can evaluate other people's behaviors a lot easier than guys can. And even the science shows that more of her brain is active during this process. How do you know if a woman's body language is receptive to yours, okay? And girls, these are some things that you can actually do to show guys that you're interested, okay? You'll notice that she'll move her shoulders towards you. A raised shoulder, what does it do? It accentuates the boobs, right? So this would actually perk these up a little bit. It also could accentuate around the feminine face, signifying estrogen, the roundness of her face, or and do this instinctively when they're trying to flirt with you, okay? They'll move their shoulders towards you. Next is she'll accidentally bump into you. Oh man, this has happened way too many times, okay? She'll either playfully slap your arm or something like that, or she'll pinch you, or she'll tease you, or she'll like bump into you suddenly. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Yeah, okay. Most women won't directly touch you to signal interest, but they'll do it unconsciously. They'll make it seem that it's okay to touch you, if that makes sense. And hey, it could be an accident that it happens, right? But if it happens a third time, a fourth time, a fifth time, bro, start looking, start paying attention. Don't be in your own head all the time. Think about the effect you're creating through your character, through your communication. Next thing is pay attention to the lips. Her lips will slightly part. Like that, okay? This suggests something called the genital echo because it directly reflects towards her other lips, okay? Next thing is she'll stroke her knee. Again, these are all sexual erogenous innuendos, right? Knees are two leg-shaped, spiky, right? Things. Think about it. Where her knees are pointing as well, if it's facing in your direction or away from you, you'll know how if she's interested in you or not, okay? You can notice these little things from the body language. It's very easy to pick up, and not a lot of people notice these things. So I hope you enjoyed this video today. It was a really good one. I think I broke down a lot of different things. Many other ones, right? A limp wrist, or sometimes women pluck their eyebrows to make them look more helpless, okay? And more submissive. She'll move to the groove. She'll do the Marilyn Monroe face, okay? There's many types of this, okay? It's called preening sometimes. You know how monkeys used to like pick lice off of each other? That was a sign of like, attraction for each other and so forth. She'll glance in the mirror. Sometimes she'll even like put on makeup as she's talking to you, right? She'll reapply her lip gloss or whatever. So this is really, really key, guys, okay? This is all a part of body language. Like, we got to understand, yeah, there are gender differences between these things too. But I'm just giving you guys that example or these understandings because I think these are very interesting to study, man. And it really helps us, like, especially if we understand the spirituality and the metaphysics of what's really going on underneath the surface, and not that surface level conversation of like, hey, hi, oh, how's work? Oh, yeah, great, Sally. Oh, what? Okay, we don't want that kind of conversation. We want that intuitive depth of conversation that you won't get anywhere else. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Give it a like and thumbs up. Actually, you know what? You don't even have to do that. As far as you enjoyed this video, if you did, then do so. I'm not forcing you to do anything, you know what I mean? But irregardless, I hope you enjoyed it. Have an incredible day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Let's get it today. Upward spiral us.